MTI GMs, what's up? Hope everyone's well. This is your week 3 recap of everything that was in the MTI this week. As we started last week, we looked at scores in the 180s, 200s, even week 1. This week we struggled to get over 140. And only one team did that. So let's get right into it. Let's start out in Tiger Kings, Meme Machine. Big matchup for a couple reasons. Mainly, it went down to Monday night. And it was a kicker who was on the line for the Meme Machine to try to bring it home for John Condit and his crew. And he did just that. 14 points for Graham Gano, was the only player going for both squads. Got the job done for John. He was behind a few points coming into Monday night, and Gano sent him home with a victory. Not so much for his real football team, the Giants, but that's a different story. I'll leave that up to Rich. Anyway, 109 Mean Machine, 101 Tiger Kings. Brings John to 2-1, currently at 6th place in the conference. Tiger Kings still searching for their first win here in the MTI this season, their inaugural season, sitting in 12th, 0-3. 101 for the week. Struggled to get over the century mark. A couple of the difference makers here. We mentioned the kicker, but we had Jimmy Garoppolo, who was the Tiger Kings acquisition this past week on waivers, and came up a little small this week. We projected to score 20, which would have been nice. Would have given him the victory, but instead came home with 12. So, I'm not going to belabor the point here. It's just a few of the guys on the Tiger Kings not coming to play this season for some reason right about this point. So 3 weeks in, coming up small. So we'll have to see where the Tiger Kings go from here. Could be trade, could be, who knows? They've got some injuries too, Renfro, Allen. So Alexander Madison sitting on the bench. Could be the rabbit's foot here that they need to get a victory the next in week 4 and maybe beyond, because Dalvin Cook suffered a shoulder injury. Typical. It's like his 12th of his career right now. So, Meme Machine, he's got to think about that for next week. May have Cook on his IR. Have to sub him out, but could mean some additional scoring for the Tiger Kings, which they're sorely in need of at this point. So 109, 101. Meme Machine leaves with the victory. Let's head to the Super Troopers and the Exiles, another close game. 113 Super Troopers, 110 Exiles. Super Troopers now moving their record to 2-1, 3rd place in the conference. And we've got Joey and his Exiles crew took a step back to 1-2, currently holding the 8th and final playoff spot in the conference. And it was really consistent scoring, nothing terrific on either side. Again, you're barely making it over 100 here. Nobody's going to go crazy, but it was consistency on the Super Trooper side. Not extraordinary, but consistent. 21, 10, 15, 11, 15, 10, 14, so just a couple guys, below the 10-point mark here. Everybody else at 10 or a little bit above. Pretty consistent for Brian and his Super Troopers. Leading the way, no surprise. Mahomes, 21 points this week. Pedestrian week for him, but nonetheless, when you're looking at the quarterback leaders for the week, certainly probably middle of the pack, but much higher than most of the league at 21 points this week. On the Exiles side, Barkley almost brought it home for Joe last night. Maybe another couple catches. Nice run into the end zone there. Barkley too, vintage stuff. But some of the decisions, or one of the decisions Joe had to make probably coming into the week, as I'm looking at his roster here, Rex Burkhead, I'm sure was not in Joe's plans coming into week 3 at the start of the week. Josh Jacobs, you heard he missed a flight. He was sick. Then he was flying on his own. I feel better. I'm going to play. But it really came down to kind of game time, and I could see why Joe wanted to go with the sure thing in Burkhead and kind of fade Jacobs here at this point. So he did, but it ended up costing him, unfortunately. 10.5 for Jacobs, 4 for Burkhead. That 6-point swing would have made all the difference in this matchup. But again, it's the life of a fantasy owner. So anyway, Super Troopers leaves with the victory this week. These two teams will be battling it out for sure come mid to late season. And I'm sure, I think they do meet again late in the season. So it could be a different story next time around. But anyway, let's head out to, let's go to let's go to Harding Avenue, Kiss My Ass matchup here. Two teams going in two completely different directions at this point. Harding Avenue Dash-Ons, the arrow's pointing up for this team. 7th place currently, 2-1. 121.5 for Rick this week. Versus Kiss My Ass, going in the opposite direction, 0-3. Currently sitting in 11th place in the conference. I knew this week was big for Anthony. He scored 116.5. It was a big for him. He wanted to get that first win under his belt, get some momentum, get some confidence, start to feel good about some of the decisions he's making with his roster. But unfortunately, it wouldn't really matter who he put in this week. Wouldn't have made much of a difference in terms of changing the outcome of this game. So that's got to at least be comforting. Again, has a glass half full guy here. It's got to be comforting from that perspective for Anthony that he didn't make a wrong decision. But it's just the guy. It's just, the vibes around these players just not getting it done this season. Outside of Mark Andrews, I mean, everyone else is subpar right about now. So again, we won't keep kicking Anthony here. But I'm sure he's doing everything he can to get back into this race. But looking over on the Dash-On side, the bookend running backs, McCaffrey and Taylor, 14, 9.5, not great, but it's it got it done this week. Really, the shocker for the week. As many of us have talked about already, David Njoku. So Rick Johnson had to put Schultz on the IR here for the week and threw in Njoku, lit a few candles. And what do you know? Njoku, 18.5 points on a Thursday night. We all watched it go down. It was literally a career day, as Anthony has pointed out to me, for David Njoku. Set all kinds of personal career bests with his 18.5, I believe 100 yards maybe receiving, or 10 or so receptions, 9 receptions, 10 targets, something like that. Got in the end zone. I mean, what more can you ask for a fill-in tight end on a Thursday night nonetheless? And you've got to sit your all-world tight end and Dalton Schultz. So kudos to Rick. He got pulled it out of his ass this week. The rabbit's foot was jammed in that ass pretty tight this week, and he came through. So good for him. Again, certainly expect Anthony to get back on the horse at some point one of these weeks. Hopefully, build some momentum. But moving forward right now, it looks like the Dash-Ons are going in a completely different positive direction than the Kiss My Ass team. Next stop, let's head to Hammerheads, Bills Mafia. Hammerheads, wow, Connor moving to 2-1, 5th place in the conference. Good for him. 132, very, very respectable this week. 118, Bills Mafia, probably the first week that Greg's kind of put up a dud in terms of points. Sitting at 0-3 now. 10th place. I don't know what to say. Again, we've talked about this, excuse me, for the first 2 weeks, even leading up to the start of the season, that Greg's lineup is pretty formidable. Quarterbacks, Herbert, Carr, both, Carr more respectable this week, 31 points. Herbert, 16, threw the ball shit ton of times this week. I don't know what that team is thinking throwing him on the field against the Jaguars, but so be it. Anyway, gave Greg 16 points, excuse me, and not enough. Kamara, Lenny Fournette combining for 12 points. Not going to get it done. So we switch over to the Hammerhead side, and we've got a big day again from Nick Chubb, 19 points. I feel like I've said that the past 3 weeks with Nick Chubb, currently the number one fantasy running back, at least by our points format in this league. So good for Connor. CeeDee Lamb came up big on a Monday night, 18 points for Connor to seal the deal. Pretty consistent. Jameis, 24, consistent throughout the lineup. Connor left a few guys on his bench that maybe scored more points than some of his starters, but that's a good thing, man, and still win the game. So good for him. He's having a good season. Bills Mafia, still confident he's going to turn this around. I feel like out of the 0-3 teams, he's probably the strongest at this point. So I expect him to get back in this real quick. Let's head to our final. Let's see. Last two matchups of the week. We had Breaking Bad, 121. Triple X, 127.5. Another really close matchup came down to, again, the Monday night game where Triple X currently sitting at 3-0, one of two undefeated teams. First place for Mark based on points. He rolled with Sterling Shepard on Monday night. What a call that was. Was able to secure him 6.5 points to sneak by Dave prior to leaving the game with an injury. I did predict today that Shepard probably, it's a possibility he'd maybe play 2 snaps and be out for the season. Well, he is out for the season, but he played more than a couple snaps, enough to get Mark some points to put him over the top here and stay undefeated. But again, Mark, it's, Montgomery left the game, got him 0 points. That hurt. A less than Justin Jefferson-esque type performance out of that player this week, 1.5 points. Sure, he'll turn it around too. But Lamar was the story here. Lamar Jackson, Mark's quarterback, 50 points, at least 50, I think, for 3 weeks straight now or something. I don't know. It's getting ridiculous. But nonetheless, 50 points for Lamar, doing it all with his legs, his arm. I really, outside of the few guys this player, Lamar, always has to throw to, man. He seems to improvise and get it done. So good for Mark for having him on his roster. We move over to Dave's side. Josh Allen, 47, leading the way, matching Lamar Jackson, if you will, in that category. But a couple players let him down. Aaron Jones, 2.5. The Sean McVay conundrum of who is going to start this week at running back. Is it going to be Darrell Henderson or is it going to be Cam Akers? This week it was Cam Akers. Got some decent points. Darrell Henderson, on the flip side, got Dave 0 points. So I think Dave will be moving on from that player in the weeks to come. Strong performance by Trevor Lawrence, certainly catching the attention of the league right now. 34 points for Trevor. They seem to have it going. Got a big win out there in LA versus the Chargers. So the arrow is pointing up for Trevor. Good vibes there for sure. But big week for Mark, staying undefeated, 127.5, 121 over Dave. And moving on to the final matchup, the one that I previewed on the week 2 wrap up last week. It was the mighty Dolphins traveling to Titty City. Both teams heading into this matchup at 2-0. Rich, I believe, was in second place. I was in third place. This is certainly the matchup of the week, at least on paper. It was billed as the Rumble in the Jungle, the Thrill in Manila. Turned out to be Tyson Spinks or Will Smith, Chris Rock, maybe. I don't know. But this was over by halftime of the 1 o'clock games for sure. Mighty Dolphins stay undefeated, 3-0, currently sitting in second place in the conference, 143.5 for the high score of the week over that of Titty City, 109, sitting at 2-1 and in fourth place in the conference. This was all about Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, even to an extent Aaron Rodgers, some contributions from Travis Kelce, really getting it done. Consistent scoring throughout my lineup this week. Not spectacular, but 143 is going to get you a win most weeks here in this league. And I got it done this week over Rich's, all jokes aside, really, really good squad. Had a couple injuries here coming into the week that led to maybe some subpar performances on the Titty City side. Swift, Eckler. Somehow we Dolphins managed to win the game without using Tyreek all that much. Credit to Buffalo. They did a great job with holding him down this week. But nonetheless, the real Dolphins got the win. The fake Mighty Dolphins got the win. Tua, not as spectacular this week. In fake football, I'll still take him in real football. We had Tua leave the game for a little bit there. We got a little Teddy Two Gloves action there for maybe a series or two. While Tua managed his back injury into halftime, came back out, got the Dolphins the win, but not enough to get Rich and the Titty City crew their win this week. But again, all joking aside, Rich's roster is certainly formidable. Still 2-1 after 3 weeks, a great spot to be. So that's it, guys. That's it for this week. Nothing crazy going on in the league. Hope some of the 0-3 teams get a win in week 4. It's always exciting when everybody's interested. We don't want to see these teams fade into oblivion and not pay attention to their roster. So keep churning the roster, the waiver wires, do whatever you need to do to get the right combination, trades, whatever combination on your team. Get out of your holes and get back into this thing. To the teams that are at top and they're winning, keep doing what you're doing. And appreciate everybody getting their lineups in, paying attention to their IRs, getting everybody out when they're supposed to be out, and playing by the rules. So that's it for this week, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Weather's been awesome. And maybe down the road, I was telling Rick Johnson, we got to get out, and I'm going to let everybody know I'm going to go check out some games one of these weeks and just throw it out there, see if some guys want to come out and join us for the afternoon, maybe the 1 o'clock games, maybe halftime of the 4 o'clock games. Will be fun. Anyway, that's it, guys. Take care. Have a good rest of the week. See you soon.